Hi, my name is Adam Pickett, and today I'm going to be going over compositing, specifically how it's used in film, TV, and games, and some different techniques. To start, however, what is compositing? Compositing is the combining of visual elements from separate sources into single images, often to create the illusion that all those elements are part of the same scene. Some techniques are blue screen, green screen, such as you see in this example here, but most compositing always uses things called mattes, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Now let's talk a bit about how compositing is used in television. In television, blue or green screens may back news readers to allow the compositing of stories behind them before being switched to a full screen display. In other cases, presenters may be completely within compositing backgrounds that are replaced with entire virtual sets, but of course the 3D software has to be competent enough to handle this. Another absolutely awesome way that compositing is used within television is that it is used in a 3D space to make a character or subject appear to be in a different place or a different time. Powerful software allows compositors to fake entire scenes by having the environment change in real time in relation to the character, such as you see in this awesome example from Game of Thrones. The most common use of compositing both in TV and in film would probably be to extend what already exists in their sets. Here's a quick example of what I mean. Now let's take a quick look at how compositing is used in film. Early techniques of compositing used in film, such as you'll see in these next two examples, were the use of rear projections of images or footage known as a plate that was then projected behind the subject or character. The character or subject in the foreground was then used as a sort of matte, making it appear that the subject is in front of a desired environment. Another popular technique is rotoscoping, which combines animated images with live action. Now this is a still frame, but if it was animated, you'd have to go in and animate the lightsaber frame by frame with motion blur and glow. Rotoscoping involves creating masks or mattes by tracing portions of still frames of a live action sequence. The tracings are then used as masks where 3D or 2D objects can be laid over a live action sequence. Or in other words, going in and animating a scene frame by frame with 2D graphics, such as you see here in this awesome example from Richard Linklater's 2006 film, A Scanner Darkly. The visual effects artist went in and hand animated every single scene of this film using rotoscoping. Pretty impressive. Finally, let's talk a little bit about compositing within video games. In many ways, games, and the cinematics contained within those games, utilize compositing in much the same way that film and television do. Except in a game, you're placing a CG asset within a CG environment rather than a real live actor or character. In this image of one of my favorite games of all time, it showcases my favorite use of compositing within video games, which is when they use it to give the impression of 3D environments using only 2D. This video shows that the background's on separate layers, and each layer acts kind of like a card in Nuke's 3D system, and it moves in relation to the character, giving the impression that he's in a 3D environment rather than a 2D plane. This is known as parallax. I've added this footage of this new IP that Bungie's working on called Destiny, and this studio has been my obsession since I was 14, and rightfully so. I mean, it just showcases the potential of compositing when used masterfully. You can create these amazingly captivating visuals. I mean, using compositing in conjunction with 2D conceptual design, look at this. How can you not want to do this? It's just, it really excites me, and I really hope I get to take part in something like this in the future. So that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching my short little podcast on compositing and some kind of cool techniques behind it and just how it's so awesome. After doing the research and going through the class, I definitely have a hugely deep understanding and appreciation for just how talented compositors can be and all the applications that come from compositing. So hopefully you learned something and enjoyed it as well.